Hey guys, Kaz here, and today we are talking goals, we are talking 2024 TBR, so let's just jump straight into them. So the first two goals are the goals that I do every year. We'll throw them straight out here. Boom. Number one, read at least 50 books. I always do, I will do, I definitely will do. I just always set my Goodreads to 50 books because it's achievable. For me, a goal of books I can reach is better than me like trying to force my way to reading like 200 books and then feeling like I can't pick up bigger books because I need to read more, or like feeling like I need to force myself to read books. So I like to just put 50 because I know I'm going to hit it. And when I hit it, everything after that is just plain sailing. And then the other goal that I always have is read at least 50% of the books I haul that year. So this one so far has been a good every year, I think. I think I've hit this every year I've done it. I've only done it like the last 2 years. It's not like an ongoing thing I've done forever. But I'm pretty sure I've consistently hit it. So again, I want to read at least 50% of the books I haul, because what's the point of hauling books if you're not going to read them? But I always say 50% because I also, what's the point of owning books if you're not going to read them and only read the new ones? You know what I mean? 50-50 balance, lovely. So we're going to jump into some different things now. So I don't actually think I did a goals video last year. Last year was very much just like no goals videos. I didn't do any TBR videos. It was just like whatevs. But I do actually have some things that I want to like focus on this year. Number one is I want to get into reading the dark books again. I am too warm right now. I don't know why I've put my jumper on. It's too warm. We'll go with it. There we go. So yeah, I've always been a fan of reading dark books. Books to do with some topics that a lot of people will find triggering or not enjoy. I'm like, feed it to me. Make me cry, make me feel. That's a lot of the way I give out 5 stars, because 5 stars to me is an emotion. I'm just like, you made me cry, I feel trauma, I feel like I'm gonna die, 5 stars. But 2023, it just didn't give me those vibes, and I thought, you know what, am I just imagining this or is this a fact? So what I did is, on Goodreads, I have a shelf called Don't Wet the Pages with Your Tears. And it's just where I shelf all the books that I cry at, because I cry a lot of books. And I actually wrote down the number of books that have been shelved on there from each year. So, starting from 2017, 2018, 2019, I shelved 15, then 14, then 16 books that made me cry each of those years. 2020 was my highest so far, with 21 books that made me cry. 2021 and 2022 were both 15, so again, pretty decent. 2023, I only cried at 10 books. I read 116 and only 10 made me cry. It's just not on. I need the tears, I need the feelings. So yes, I want to read some dark shit this year. The first book I read of the year, the only book I've read so far, finished, I cried 3 times that, so we're on a roll. Right, the next goal is I want to reread a few things. Not a lot, because I do have a lot of books that I want to read firsthand. But if I don't read anything else, or if I don't reread anything else this year, I definitely want to reread All for the Game series by Nora Sakavic. And I already had that goal, and then I found out that there's like a special box being made of it from, I want to say Queer Lit box thing. Might be wrong, but one of the big box companies that does the boxes are doing an All for the Game special one, where they're doing like fancy stuff and have loads of merch and stuff. And like, normally I'm not the sort of person that spends money on this sort of stuff, but I freaking love that series. It's an indie series. Like, give Nora Sakavic all the money. I am definitely going to be buying that box. So I'll probably just wait until, well, to be fair, I heard the pre-orders are in like March, I want to say, but I don't actually know when the books are meant to get here. So depending on what sort of time of the year, I might wait until that gets here and then reread them, or I might reread them before. But I definitely want to reread at least that series, potentially more things, we shall see. But if I just reread those 3 books, then I will be happy. It will also probably add like a bit of books that I cried at, because I will, even though I know what happens. Next up, I want to utilise my library app / Kindle. I don't have any like specific goals on here. I'm not like, oh, I want to read like 2 books a month from here, or I want to do this. I just want to utilise it when it can be utilised. I'm not going to force myself at it. I'm not going to try and use them loads and then like disregard my actual books that I own. But it's something that's there. It's something that's free, so why not? I have loads of books on my Kindle that I've had for years and I just don't read. Side note, again, that first book that I've read this year, the only book I've read this year, did make me cry 3 times, and it was a Kindle book that I've had on my Kindle for fucking years. So boom, dark books, utilise the Kindle. I'm already doing the goals. We're already winning here. But yeah, I just want to like keep my eye out, especially if I'm doing my TBR game. So I do Scrabble TBR, and some letters I just don't own any books that start with that letter, so like I have to look elsewhere to try and get those letters. So yeah, that is something I want to do. Another thing I want to do is post different content, and what I mean by that is not post less bookish content, but I really enjoy doing my journal and I really enjoy doing art, but both of those things take so freaking long to film. You have to film stuff, you have to then do a voiceover on the filming most of the time, so it's a lot of effort and it's a lot of dicking about, which is why I don't do it very often. But I really enjoy it, so like, stop being a dickhead and just do it, you know? So hopefully, fingers crossed, I will actually post more videos to do with like art stuff, my journal. I'd really enjoy that. I already have a few things I want to post, so I already want to post my like full flip through of my journal, my 2023 journal. I'm also going to be posting a 2024, like starting the journal. I'm going to do a video about how I travel journal. I think that might be a fun thing because it has changed over the years, and I do like paint stuff and write stuff and things. I feel like it might be a fun time to do that. So yes, we shall see how long this lasts throughout the year, because it is a lot of effort with the voicing over, and because what I have to do is I have to put the video in and then edit the video and then watch the video to see how much time I have and then talk in that time and then make it make sense. It's a lot, but fingers crossed it will happen. And then my last goal is my 2024 TBR, which leads us into me talking over all the books on my 2024 TBR. But first, a message from one of the spawns, and then we'll be back with all the books. So, 2024 TBR. There's not really much rhyme and reason about this. I have them in sections. I have fantasy, non-fiction, sci-fi, and contemporary, I think, is the 4 sections I have. But it's very much dominated by fantasy. And this is just a mixture of books. You will have seen some of them in my last video, which was my like Christmas haul. I have put a few of them on, so I'm getting the books that I've got recently read. There's also books from a long time ago. And there's also some like series and stuff, because I want to get some series read. I didn't put that as a main goal, but it is just an ongoing thing that is obviously good, like continuing and finishing series. So some of the books on here also work for that as well. So yeah, I'm just going to go with the fantasy first. First of all, I have Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. You would have seen this one on my last video. This is the 3rd book in the Cassidy Blake series, which is a middle grade about ghosts and stuff. Another one from my last haul is Madness of Angels by Kate Griffin. This is the start of a series which isn't really helping with the continued series, but it's a series my sister has been telling me to read for a long ass time, so I'm like, you know what, I'm buying the book and then I'm putting the book on my TBR so it actually gets read. This is the start of some sort of urban fantasy series, and I'm looking forward to giving it a go. And then another one, again, you would have seen in that haul, is the 2nd book in the Amari series. Has it got a name, this series? I don't know. Anyway, it's Amari and the Great Game, which is number 2 in this middle grade series about magic and stuff and things and that. Next up, we have Circe by Madeline Miller. I've had this for several years. I freaking loved A Song of Achilles, so why haven't I read this yet? I don't know. It's Greek stuff, Circe things. That's what I know. I also have The Sun and the Star by Rick Riordan and Marcus Shiro. This is in the Percy Jackson universe, and it's about Nico and whatever his name is. I've got Luke in my head and that's not right. Will. It's because I watched a few episodes of the new Percy Jackson and I've got Luke in my head and that's wrong. Nico and Will I don't know if this is a standalone. I've not heard anything otherwise to say it's not, so potentially this is a standalone in that universe. Let's read it. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, another book that I've had for a while. I actually had to go on Goodreads to see what this classifies as, and it is in other categories, but it does say fantasy, so I was like, throw it in there. It doesn't really matter. These categories are arbitrary just for me to talk about all the stuff in one go. But yeah, I don't really know much about this. There's a boy, I think stuff happens and people don't believe him. I've heard there's some disgusting stuff happens. Let's see. Next I have An Arrow to the Moon by Emily XR Pan. This is, well, it says down here, a reinterpretation of Romeo and Juliet filled with magic, romance and Chinese mythology. So yeah, it's going to be very heavy on the romance side, but I feel like the Chinese mythology might be a fun little addition. So yeah, we shall see. I have this whole series, so this counts as 3 books obviously because it's 3 books. So I have The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of God of Monsters by Laini Taylor. I've owned this whole trilogy for a while now, a year or 2. So I'm like, you know what, put the whole trilogy on here and just fucking read it. And that's what I'm gonna do. And honestly, I don't even know what this is about. I can't even remember stuff and things. People like it. Hopefully I do too. And then last in the fantasy section is Snuff by Terry Pratchett. I don't know anything about this book. Basically, I went to my dad's over Christmas and I mentioned that I read my first ever Terry Pratchett book, and then he just like gave me 3 to read. So I borrowed this one, Snuff, and then I have Interesting Times, you can't even see that, and The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents. I just picked this one at random to put on the TBR, but I will probably try and read all 3 of these because I did borrow them and then I can just give them back. But yeah, I don't know anything about this. I picked this one at random and then I looked at the back and it says Commander Sam Vines, so that's fun. It's the City Watch, which is the one that I've already read about, so that'll be fun to go back to those characters. Next up, well, I was going to say non-fiction, but I'm actually going to leave that to the end because, like, effort. So, sci-fi. There's only 2 in sci-fi. So first up, you would have seen this one in my last haul. Again, I say it. This is Crest by Marissa Meyer. It's book 3 in the Lunar Chronicles. I really enjoyed the other 2. I read them both last year, so I want to get this read while that's still fresh in my memory. And yeah, it's about like stuff and sci-fi things and cyborgs and that. And then the other one in sci-fi is United as One by Pittacus Law. I actually went and picked this up from my library today, which is why I'm finally being able to film this. I could have just put the picture up, but whatevs. Yeah, every time I go in a charity shop for the past forever, I always look for this book, and every single charity shop I go in, there's always some of this series, but never the last book. So I was like, you know what, just flip and go and put a hold on it on the library and then go and get it. And then I did. And it's so weird because for some reason I've got this, the due date to give this back is the 3rd of the 6th. Why have I got a 6 months hold on it just because I asked them? I don't know, it's really random. But yes, finally finishing this series. It's one that I've enjoyed. It's also one that I didn't care about owning the book, so like I'd read them and then unhaul them, so I thought there's no point in me buying the next one necessarily. I say that, I'm literally the same with Crest, but I thought I might as well just borrow this from the library. But the reason I bought Crest was because it was stupidly cheap in a charity shop. But yeah, also the Lunar Chronicles, I've just been unhauling them afterwards. I'm really enjoying them, I just don't need to own them. But yeah, that's got nothing to do with anything. The last book in the series, get it read, get the series completed. Thank you. This is a series about aliens and stuff. Next up we have some contemporary things. First of all, I have A Million to One by Adiba Jagadar. Again, I've said it several times in this video, you would have seen this in my haul unless you didn't watch that, but why didn't you go and watch it? It's fun. But yeah, this is set on the Titanic, it's a heist, they're doing stuff. There you go. I also have Right Where I Left You by Julian Winters. I don't really know much about this book, but I've read, I want to say 2 Julian Winters books previously, and I've enjoyed them. I think I've probably given them both 3.5 stars, but there's just something about his writing that's really hard for me personally to connect to. I don't know why. It just takes me about half the book to like, feel like I'm even like in the story. I just feel like I'm reading words and none of it's like in. So I feel like this is going to be my 3rd and final attempt to see if like it can be really good for me, and if not, I probably will stop picking up his books. I did get like most of them for as presents and stuff, I think, but yeah, It's about someone that's comic obsessed and they go to a con, so hopefully it'll be really cool. We shall see. Next up I have The Battle for Jericho by Jean Gant. This is one of the random indie books that I've owned for ages. Potentially hard-hitting, because a lot of these indie books I have are hard-hitting, so that's what I'm hoping for. I hit that little goal. But it's about like a dude who is suing the state over the gay adoption ban, and then someone beats up somebody, and then, so obviously harrowing, and then like I think they meet up again and they're like trying to apologise or some shit. Anyway, I'm hoping it's going to be harrowing, which is why it's on this list. Next up, another one I believe is going to be harrowing is This Is Where It Ends by, I used to know how to pronounce her name, Mariek Nijkamp. That's probably not correct, I'm really sorry about that. But this is about a mass shooting, a school shooting. It's a book that I've wanted to read for a long time, and then for the longest time it was just unavailable anywhere. But then I think I picked it up last year, not last year, the year before now, shit. Or maybe last year, probably the year before, what even are years. But yeah, I finally managed to find a copy in England, so like, read it, you know what I mean? The fact it even says Goodwill on the back means it clearly was not from England originally, which shows how hard it was to get this book, because we don't have Goodwill, that's American. I think I got this off World of Books, in fact I definitely did. World of Books, not English. Anyway, the last in the contemporary section, which potentially does not live here because like one of them dies and then they can still interact, so is that contemporary or is it something else, is After Love by Tanya Byrne. Again, like I just mentioned, one of them's dead, there's an afterlife, there's a Reaper in and stuff and things, I think. Is it contemporary? No, but I just put it there anyway. But after I read it, oh, I know exactly where it fits. Girlfriends, one dies, still in love, death do you part does it, because now we're still together even though you're dead, is what I'm getting from this. And then last but not least we have the non-fiction section. So first of all I have The Worst Journey in the World by Absolute Cherry Garrard. This is not a biography, what's it called when it's your own thing? Memoir? This is his own book anyway, about going on the polar expedition with Captain Scott. Captain Scott, who famously died and didn't reach the South Pole. And this is one of the guys that didn't go on that bit of the trek, because if he did, he wouldn't be able to write it because he'd be dead. But he was one of the people that was on the whole expedition, and also was one of the people that went to try and find the tent afterwards and find the bodies and all that jazz. And it's called The Worst Journey in the World, so yes, I don't think he had very much fun with it. So we have that one. Boy Raised by Garrard Conley. This is about him and I believe conversion therapy, so harrowing, yes please. It's gonna make me cry, I just know it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a really hard read I feel like, but a really important one as well. Next we have Becoming a Man by Paul Monette. This is a book that I've had for ages. I found it randomly in a charity shop, it was really cheap, I thought it sounded interesting and I've still not read it, so I was like, put it on the list, read it. So this is, it's called Half a Life Story, but basically it was about him being gay in the 50s and 60s and then into the 70s, and being in the closet and self-denial and all that sort of stuff. So potentially also harrowing, potentially also cry-worthy, we shall see. Next up I have Shackleton by Roland Hunsford. This is a biography about Shackleton. It's chonker, but I've really enjoyed Roland Hunsford's other biographies about other polar explorers, so I know it's going to be really good and really in-depth and really interesting and engaging and all that jazz. Boom. It's about Shackleton. He's a polar, he was a polar explorer. So, boom. And last but not least, this is the reason I decided to do this at the end. This one as well, give me a second. I have to be careful with this because it has a book stand inside it to make sure it doesn't fall off. But yes, The Nansen Photographs by Keo Glover. This is a massive ass book. I got this in Norway at the Fram Museum, not last year, but the year before, and it was really freaking heavy, and it's like, if I would have got stopped, I would have got a lot of money put on my bags, but luckily I'm sneaky and Ryan, I don't care. But yeah, I just had this in a bag because it is definitely like over 5 kilograms itself, But yes, it's just a massive ass book. It has pictures, it has words, it has stuff, it has things. And I want to read it because it's massive and like I own it, so like read it, you know what I mean? If you want to see me getting this, why not? I'll throw my Norway vlog up there somewhere. Why not? We'll do it. It just looks so empty right there now. But yes, that is the end of this video. Let me know down below any of your goals for 2024. What you think of my goals. What you think of the books I've put on here. Have you read any? Which ones do you think I should pick up first? Just say stuff down there if you want. Like if you want, comment if you want, subscribe if you want. But only if you want. And yeah, I will be back soon with another video.